Hey folks, welcome to another episode of Your Next Move. It's your favorite realty team from New York. I'm Evantz Saint-Gerard, and my co-host is,
And I'm Dean Graber.
well, we're your favorite guys based in New York, but we span the world to find the best professionals out there and the best areas basically that people are moving to. And we could not do the show without asking Tom Martin from Milwaukee to be a guest on the show. So Tom, introduce yourself to the folks.
Good to see everybody. So I'm Tom Martin. I have been a resident of the Milwaukee area for about 22 years. But however, I was born and raised in New York. So I was born in the West Village, grew up out in northern Jersey, lived in Manhattan a number of years after Syracuse, and then found myself West Coast high tech for about 15, 20 years. And then met my ex and moved here. And I've been in real estate for the entire time I've been here. And I will say that Milwaukee is probably one of the best kept secrets in the country as far as a great place to live.
Well, I'm glad you mentioned best kept secrets because we're going to be asking you to divulge that information.
Okay. All right.
So our audience knows basically, hey, Milwaukee's someplace we need to be going to if they're considering moving. All right. So Dean, you want to start with your first question?
Yeah, tell us a little bit about the location. So you're not right in the city of Milwaukee, though.
No, I mean, Milwaukee is a medium-sized city. So think of Syracuse, New York, or Albany, as similar cities. So it's very, it's very easy to get around. I personally live in a small town on the northern side called Cedarburg. Okay. And our office is in another smaller outskirts suburb called Germantown. So we have 5 offices here. There's probably about 900 agents in the 5 counties that are around Milwaukee. But Milwaukee's so easy to get into. I mean, 20 minutes door to door to go see the Bucks. I mean, you could leave the Upper East Side and it would take you more than 20 minutes to get to Madison Square Garden.
Yes. All right. Well,
you were showing
go ahead
on the map before, and well, actually, let's talk. So you're about 20 minutes from Milwaukee, right?
Yeah. I mean, the city of Milwaukee, if we jump on, it's 10 minutes from here to the freeway and another 10 to 15 minutes south on the freeway, and we're in the city. So the city is, it's a smaller city. So there is a downtown, and then there's a number of neighborhoods that are surrounding the downtown that have been gentrified or just have always stayed in good shape.
Okay.
And there's the cultural renaissance here in the last 10 years especially has been pronounced. We have a new Buck Center, and that's an entire complex. So there's a lot of entertainment, restaurants, and shopping down there. And what was really surprising is the foodie culture here has gone crazy up until COVID hit. A lot of people came here to train as chefs. And then when they realized that it was so expensive to move to another city, they stayed.
Wow.
So we've had this great resurgence of really nice world cuisine here. Whereas 25 years ago when I got here, it's like, how did you want your brat?
I was going to say that. That's what I think of when I think of the area. I think that's the kind of main food attraction.
There are still, supper clubs are very popular, especially out in the suburbs. But I mean, we have a 5-star restaurant we can walk to from our house here in Cedarburg. And he was the one of the chefs up at Keller. So we have the Keller, the resort north of here. And when he and his wife decided they wanted to leave Keller, they bought an old building, remodeled it, and they've got a wonderful restaurant right downtown in our little hometown here.
Okay.
So there's a lot more here than meets the eye.
All right. Well, since we're talking about food, yep. let's dive in deeper. Basically, besides what you just mentioned right now, what other foods are really hot out there right now that people wouldn't necessarily think?
I mean, there is a huge Hispanic community here. So Mexican and Hispanic food is amazingly good. You've got the traditional, what I would say, German, Polish type of, heavy Eastern European food. But then you also have great sushi. We've got good Thai food. There are some great French and Italian restaurants. There's also a lot of farm to table. So the area, we've got farms close into the city. So getting fresh produce in is very, very easy for them. And we've got things like, vegan restaurants and, you can get gluten-free wherever you go. So, I mean, Milwaukee is not that far behind Chicago or New York in terms of a foodie environment.
Good to know. I mean, those things are really popular, especially now. A lot of people want to eat right. They want to eat differently. And these are great options for people, especially the other foodies out there. All right. So you mentioned the Bucks a few times. And
Yes.
I'm looking at the basketball behind you.
Yeah.
What other sports are out there? For
So
sports
yes,
fans?
that is a signed autograph copy of one that we won at a contest about a year ago. But so the Bucks are here, the Brewers, and then the Packers. So Brewers and Bucks are both in the city. So Miller Park is very close to, again, everywhere. I mean,
That's a
getting
newer
down
park
here-
too, right?
Huh?
Miller Park is a newer park too, right?
Yes, Miller Park, it's got the retractable roof. So
Right.
when I first moved here, County Stadium was here, which had been around for about 50, 60 years. They
Right.
built Miller Park and then they knocked County Stadium down. So because opening day, it can snow here. That's one of the downsides.
Okay.
So they can retract the roof or put the roof over, and then you get a nice indoor playing space. The Bucks Arena is brand new. I mean, it is an amazing world-class venue. And then the Packers, they're about 2 hours north of here. So Green Bay, if you were in New York City and you were driving to Scranton, Pennsylvania, or going
Okay.
to Albany, that's about how long it would take you to get up to Green Bay.
But going to a
And-
Packer game must be like an event anyway for the whole day.
Yeah, it can actually turn into a day or 2 day if you can get a room up there. But finding Packer tickets, the waiting list for season tickets are turning into children and grandchildren of the current ticket holders.
Oh my
Wow.
God.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I think one of you had mentioned that you're a Mets fan. I mean,
Yeah.
times 10 that as far as the loyalty.
All right.
Wow.
I'm still a 49ers fan, but that's a different story altogether. And I still am a Yankees fan. So
Yes. That's what I like to hear.
We're just going with the loyalty for the Mets.
Yeah. Well, nobody's hearing that, Dean. But anyway, you had mentioned earlier about the art space. You have a large art community out there.
So we've got the Calatrava, which is one of the most beautiful art museums in the world. You also have a great music scene here. So we have this thing called Summerfest. So Summerfest is 14 days in the end of June, early July at the Miller Fairgrounds downtown. And there are 100, 150 bands that come and play. And so you've got what I call all the old rock, like Peter Frampton and the Outlaws and that type of thing. And then you've got a lot of new bands coming. And there are dozens of stages, and it's a huge outdoor environment. And over the course of that 14 days, there might be 100,000 people every night.
Nice.
Every night. Wow.
And, it's all single entry on an $18 ticket.
Okay.
Could you say that one more time? I don't think my brain computed what you just said. One more
So
time.
you get this huge fairground. There's a dozen or more stages, and there's all of these bands that are playing in rotation.
Mhm.
And, these are world-class acts. And you have a one entry fee. I think it's $18. And then you can walk around and just see people. And if you go to the Miller venue, you might have to pay another $10 to go see a top line band. And there's food and beer and all sorts of other stuff.
That's not bad for that price. That's not bad at all.
About 100,000 people every night. And it doesn't take 3 hours to get there and get home.
You know what? I like that even more. All right. So what else could you share about your area? Basically, you mentioned there's a lot of things in your area that people basically once they move, they're like, I did not know this about this area. What could you tell us?
Well, I mean, we did a shared screen before. I'm going to see if I can get over there again. So, my son was living in Brooklyn after he graduated Syracuse.
Yeah, you mentioned Park Slope.
Yep. He was living in Park Slope, and I'm assuming, let me see which screen I've got here.
No, this is where we were before. Good.
Okay. Yeah, so he and his girlfriend were living in Park Slope. He's working for Ralph Lauren. They were in a 2-room apartment right on the park, $3,200 a month. This house, one of my buyers, we just got an accepted offer last week, is outside of the town of Cedarburg. It's out in the country. It's on 5 acres. It's on the creek, so there's a river down here that you can snowmobile in the wintertime and fish and kayak in the summertime. And, 3,700 square feet. With 20% down, your monthly mortgage payment, taxes, and insurance would be $3,100.
Wow.
The house is listed at, it's at 680, and, it's just a beautiful house. It was built in 96. And, for that same amount of money for a nice 2-room apartment in Brooklyn, versus a, house on 5 acres out in the country with good internet access, by the way.
That's the most important part.
Yeah, you can have a palace out in the country. And from this house to downtown Milwaukee, you're about 25 minutes.
So it looks amazing. I mean, if you're looking for a lifestyle change, that would start that having a home like that on 5 acres. I'm just thinking it's like shock for somebody where I live.
It's complete shock. I mean, so that's up here in Cedarburg, and Milwaukee's right down here. So, from here to here, 20, 25 minutes, depending on traffic.
Okay.
And then the town itself of Cedarburg is very much a Norman Rockwell tourist town. I mean, we have festivals here, probably half a dozen a year. Again, not with COVID over the last 12 months, but we'll get 60 to 80,000 people every weekend for the festivals. Okay. And Milwaukee lives in this 4 or 5 month period of time when it's not winter. So we do have colder weather here. It's 55 degrees today. Most of the snow is melted, but starting in about middle of May, running through end of September, like a Oktoberfest time frame, there are festivals and there are parties and there are bands and it's just, everybody's trying to jam 12 months of living into, what we call the 5 months of summer.
Well, that would best explain what you're talking about, because it sounds like there's a lot of fun things to do there. It really does.
I mean, in the wintertime, there's, what I would call flat winter sports. So snowshoeing, cross-country skiing. We do have 2 small ski areas here, but, they're like Camelback would be, or Great Gorge, Vernon Valley, right, out in Jersey. But you've got ice fishing, you've got ice boating, you get snowmobiling. In the summertime, huge amount of outdoor sports. So, if you're into fishing or hunting or any of that kind of stuff, it's an amazing area to live.
On Lake Michigan, are there any like boating spots near you?
Oh, yeah. So you guys have probably gone blue fishing out of either Long Island or out of Jersey, right?
Probably Long Island.
Yeah. So we have deep sea fishing on Lake Michigan. Lake Michigan's 700 feet deep.
Wow. Okay.
So we have world-class salmon and lake trout fishing. So we've got cohos and kings that are artificially put into the lake. And they've been doing that for about 50 years. So you can go out on a charter boat, 4 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the morning, get about 20 miles out, and you come back and you've got 15 to 20, 20-pound salmons and a couple Lakers. And so it is, I mean, it's like deep sea fishing is on the East Coast. Good news is there's no sharks.
Thank you.
That is good news.
All right. So
yeah, I mean, you can go sailing on the lake, and if you're really into sailing or water sports or whatever, I mean,
that's what I was talking about too. So.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to, again, I'll kind of point out where we are on the map here. So Milwaukee's here where all these hearts are, but
okay,
you have an entire lake system here. And you can access Lake Huron, you can access Lake Superior. I mean, you can, if you want, take your boat from here. One of my clients sold their house, got a catamaran, left Milwaukee, and ended up in Belize.
Okay.
It was a bit of a sail. You can do it.
Now, these clients, were they retirees?
No, he was a computer programmer, so he could work wherever he wanted to, and they left like 10 years ago.
Okay.
But he works remotely now, and his ability to be able to kind of work wherever he wants.
All right. Well, so that brings me to my next question, next segue. Who's coming, basically? What type of professionals are coming to your area?
Well, we're looking at people in the last 12 months that are living in dense urban areas that the urban area shut down.
Yeah.
So, one of my favorite Thai restaurants was Uncle Boone's down in Alphabet City, and they closed, I think, at the end of last year. So you look at New York Magazine and you see 500 closures, things like Lord & Taylor. So living in a dense urban environment with a high cost isn't as much fun as it used to be, and it may not be going forward. So a lot of people who said, hey, I can work remotely as long as I have a high-speed internet connection and I've got decent services, they can move wherever. So you've got people going to Bali, you got people going to Montana. We got a lot of people coming here because you have world-class schools here. You've got a nice, affordable lifestyle, not much congestion, and you can pretty much do whatever you need to do remotely. So I'm in my home office here. I've been here for 340 45 days. Across the hall, working in her office. She's been there the same amount of time. I have a real estate team. We got, about 5 people. We haven't really been in the office up until about a week ago. So we've been working completely remotely. My internet speed here is 245 down, 12 up. So I can do these types of calls all day long, and there's no loss of signal, for want of an old-fashioned term.
All right.
Beautiful. All right. Well, we talked about basically things to do. How about for families? What are things to do for families?
Well, I'll say that when we moved here originally, it was because I wanted my son to be around his relatives, and I also wanted to see him every day. So I was traveling a lot when I worked in California. So for families here, you've got absolutely great schools. So the high school in our little community here, according to U.S. News and World Report or whatever, Cedarburg High School is number 2 in the state, but it's ranked 206th nationwide. So if you look at, like the top 10 schools in our area here, most of them fall within the top 200 to 400 nationwide. So we have really good schools, a lot of after school activities for kids, but then there's the whole, your town or your village or wherever you're living, they actually, it takes a village to raise a child.
Yes.
So when my son was about 14, I said, I know all the bartenders, I know all the, restaurant owners here. There's their eyes on you pretty much all day long. So don't do anything that I'm going to find out about.
I think all the parents that are watching this right now, basically, you know what? This is where I need to go.
Well, I mean, it's just, really seriously. I remember growing up, in Jersey and then in New York when I was younger, and, it's a very anonymous environment.
Yep.
So here, if we take our dogs for a walk in the afternoon or early evening, and it's a nice day out, there's 15,000 people live in our little city town here. We'll probably run into 20 people we know.
Oh, that's exciting, actually, to hear that.
Yeah.
So, in terms of real estate, I'm selling homes to parents, grandparents, and kids all in the same family.
Okay.
Because people just know each other that well here. Because again, you lose the anonymity of living in a big city, but you pick up a big community that's very self-supporting.
So it doesn't sound like if somebody's moving from the East Coast or from the West Coast, for that matter, from LA or San Francisco or anything else, San Diego or anything out there, that they're trading in, they're not losing anything. They're picking up a lot of land, a lot of space, maybe it sounds like a healthier type of environment. But you're not giving up. If you like going to the city and you like doing a lot of things, it sounds like there's a ton of stuff there.
There's a lot of things here, and I'll bring up the other point. My wife and I travel extensively up until a year ago. So for us to leave here and get to O'Hare, it's an hour and a half door to door, and then we can pick up and go wherever we want. So we come, or I should say, up until this past year, we were in New York City 3 times a year. We'd be out on the West Coast once, and then we do 2 international. And the thing is that when your budget is not completely going towards a lifestyle and a living expense,
right,
you can afford to travel. So, we want to leave and go someplace. It's like, all right, let's go spend 3 weeks in Ireland, or let's go to Belize, or let's go to Italy or something like that. I will say there's a difference between people who were born and raised here and people who have moved here. So the ones that are born and raised here, they tend to stay local and they don't move, but we're seeing more and more people move in from out of the area. That's kind of blending a very nice international kind of flavor to everybody here. And, you make friends with people that you made friends with. Our best friends here are from San Francisco. They lived, about 10 blocks away from me when I was living in the city. San Francisco, sorry.
All right. So you got a great melting pot. What can people expect, basically, affordability wise, basically, when they're coming in?
I mean, yeah. When we moved from San Francisco, this was in '95, we sold an $800,000 house and paid cash for a brand new house with 5 acres. And I think we paid $300,000. So that $600,000 house that I just, or $700,000 house I just showed you, that's what I would say is that's kind of at the top third of things around here. So I sold a 6,000 square foot condo on the 26th floor of the University Club Tower with a view of Lake Michigan and Milwaukee. And that was 4 years ago. 6,000 square foot, relatively new building, 7 years old. What do you think that condo sold for?
First of all, I've never heard of a 6,000 square foot condo. So
I can't even guess.
Start with that.
Yeah, that was the entire 26th floor of the building. He bought two and then he merged them.
Interesting.
So, yeah, you guys live in the city. Come on, throw me a number. What do you think it was worth?
2 million. I'm gonna say 2 million.
3.6 million.
Okay. I was just a bit off.
Yeah. But I mean, in New York, in Manhattan, that'd be 25, 30 million.
Yeah.
Chicago, probably 14 to 20.
This is a lot of information, basically. I'm just trying to process the numbers right now, and like just the acres, basically, that somebody would get trading, selling something like, let's say, like in Valley Stream or better yet, a house like this. We have a property that we're selling a house basically for $649. So if they're selling that, basically, how much land can they get to trade up?
I mean, our average sale price in our MLS is 272. So, and we've got homes that are built, there were different segments of building in Milwaukee. So there was a lot of farmhouses and Victorians around the turn of the 1900s. Then somewhat a boom in the 20s. After, when the Depression hit, there was very little built between then and the end of the war. But then we've got successive building cycles in the 50s, early 60s, then 70s, another building cycle in the 80s. Late 90s up until 2008, there was a lot of new stuff built, a gap of about 5 years, and then a lot of new stuff coming online since about 2012. So if you want to buy, we just sold, 15 acres, buildable, hilly, a little bit of an open field, 200,000, and you could put a really nice house on there for another 300 or 400. So, and if you're buying a starter home, if you can find one, our inventory is pretty tight right now. But I mean, you can get a nice starter home for $225,000.
Interesting.
Your inventory situation sounds like the same as here. You made it sound like people are leaving the cities in droves and they're going to the suburbs.
Yeah, I mean, our inventory across the entire MLS. I mean, at the height of the market in 2010, 2011. When the crash hit, there was about 11,000 single families in our MLS for sale at this point. Last week, when I did an analysis for one of the doctors moving here, there's 2,200.
Wow, that's one. That's
so
great.
we're looking at a month and a half to 2 months of inventory. So if you've got someone who's going to be moving here, I'd love to be able to do a consult with them and then set them up so that for success.
Definitely.
Set them up with the builder, set them up, on a search pattern, but then talk to them about the different areas and what their lifestyle is like, and get a merge, because there's the city lifestyle, there's the suburbs, there's the rural, there's the what I call out in the country.
Yeah,
gotcha. All right, well, the whole point of this video series is basically to give people options so they can think about, all right, you know what, I didn't think about this place as an option, but now this is an option, and now they have an outlet. They can reach out to you.
It's like an option to me right now, just listening to this last few minutes.
well, you mentioned all the stuff that he loves, basically, by the way. So pretty much,
I
want to get to the new Bucks Arena, and
I mean, it's amazing what they put in there in terms of the intelligent technology and stuff that's in there. It's pretty amazing.
All right, now if somebody wanted to get a consultation with you, how can they reach you?
Well, the best way to reach me is just give me a call. And, I'll put my phone number out there, 262-208-8057, or they can reach me through you guys. So I'm sure that your client base is going to be seeing this, and people that they could reach me through you guys, or on the Keller Williams website for the Germantown office here in Milwaukee.
All right. You want to give them the link, the address?
Or I could just give them my email at tom.martin@kw.com.
All right. Awesome. All right, Tom, thank you so much for doing the show.
Dean,
thank you. Dean, do you have any other questions?
No, I just wanted to thank Tom a lot. And like I said, I'm learning also about new areas and new towns when we do this. And this area got me excited to, maybe come visit and check it out. Who knows?
Come out in June, July. We'll take you to Summerfest and do a fishing trip, and love to show you guys around.
I love the music scene,
great.
so I'm like, that's something I'm definitely interested in seeing. All right. With that being said, we have nothing else to add to this, basically, besides if you're interested in selling your home in Queens, Brooklyn, Long Island, or the Bronx,
Goodbye.
you're going to reach out to either myself or Dean. Dean, what's your contact info?
All right, give me a call. My cell is 516-527-9549. Email is my name, deangraber@kw.com.
And you can reach me at my cell, 917-975-5985. Hey, Dean,
Yes.
hit him with the website.
All right, www.mynywhomesales.com. Don't forget.
All right. Thank you, guys. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to this channel. If you're interested in anything that we have to say, if you want to reach out to Tom, let us know. We'll connect you to Tom. And remember to share this with your friends, family, anybody who's thinking about selling and relocating out to Milwaukee. And that's pretty much it. Thanks for watching.
Hey guys, it was nice seeing you again. Have a
Same
good
here.
week.
Let's go, Bucks.
Bye-bye.